The knocking came at midnight so faint, Jasper Thornton thought it was the wind. But wind don't leave bloody footprints on a man's porch. He opened the door to find a child barefoot, half-frozen eyes that had seen too much darkness for 10 years of living. She collapsed into his arms before she could speak. And Jasper Thornton, a man who hadn't held anything but whiskey and regret for 5 years, caught her like she was the answer to a prayer he'd forgotten how to say. If you want to see how one frozen night changed everything, subscribe to our channel and stay until the end. Drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Wyoming Territory, January 1887. The knock came twice before Jasper Thornton opened his eyes. Soft. Hesitant. The kind of knock that could be mistaken for wind against weathered wood. He lay still in the darkness listening. 5 years alone had taught him to read sounds the way other men read newspapers. This wasn't wind. Wind didn't pause between knocks. Wind didn't wait for an answer. The third knock was weaker. Almost gone. Jasper threw back the blankets, feet hitting cold floor. He grabbed his revolver from the nightstand, habit, not fear, and moved through the hallway. The ranch house was silent except for his own footsteps and the distant moan of Wyoming winter pressing against every wall. Downstairs, a single candle burned on the kitchen table. Samuel's candle. 5 years he'd kept it lit through the night. Every night. Even when Tomas told him he was wasting good wax on ghosts. The knock came again. Barely a sound now. Jasper reached the door, pulled it open. The cold hit him first. 20 below, maybe worse. The kind of cold that killed cattle where they stood, that turned breath to ice before it left a man's lips. Then he saw her. A child. 10 years old, maybe younger, hard to tell with the bones showing through her face like that. She wore a coat 3 sizes too big, torn at the sleeves. Her feet were bare against the snow-covered porch, and they were the wrong color. Blue-white. The color of things that don't come back. She looked up at him with eyes that had stopped hoping for anything. "Please," she whispered. Then her legs gave out. Jasper caught her before she hit the ground. His arms remembered something his heart had tried to forget, the weight of a child, the way they fold against your chest when they can't stand anymore. She weighed nothing. Through the coat he could feel ribs, sharp shoulder blades, the architecture of starvation. "Tomas!" Jasper's voice cracked through the silent house. "Tomas, get down here!" He carried her inside, kicked the door shut against the killing cold. The candle flickered but held. In its light he could see more now. Bruises yellowing on her wrist, fresh ones purpling her neck, defensive marks. He knew those marks. Had seen them once on a rancher's wife before she disappeared, before her husband claimed she'd run off and everyone in town pretended to believe him. The girl's eyes flew open. She saw his face, saw his arms around her, and her whole body went rigid. "Easy," Jasper said, setting her down on the floor near the stove. "Easy now. Ain't gonna hurt you." She scrambled backward until she hit the wall. Her breathing was too fast, too shallow. Panic breathing. "Don't," she gasped. "Please don't." "Don't what?" She didn't answer, just watched his hands, every finger, every movement, calculating what he could do to her from where he stood. Jasper had seen wild horses do the same thing. Animals that had been broken wrong, beaten until they expected pain from every direction. He stepped back, put his hands where she could see them. "I ain't gonna touch you," he said. "You hear me? Nobody's gonna touch you in this house." Footsteps on the stairs. Tomas appeared, pulling suspenders over his undershirt, gray hair standing wild. He stopped dead when he saw the girl. "Dios mío," the old man breathed. "What happened?" "Don't know yet. Get Doc Cross. Fast." Tomas looked at the child at her feet, at the marks on her neck. His jaw tightened. "Sheriff gonna want to know about this patron." "Don't call the sheriff." "Jasper, I said don't call him Tomas. Just get Abigail." The old foreman studied Jasper's face for a long moment. They'd known each other 30 years. Tomas had worked for Jasper's father before Jasper was born, had taught Jasper to ride, had been there when Samuel died, and Jasper stopped being a man and became whatever he was now. "Your call," Tomas said finally. He grabbed his coat, headed for the door. Jasper turned back to the girl. She'd pulled her knees up to her chest, making herself small as possible, like she could disappear if she just took up less space. "What's your name?" he asked. "Nothing." "I'm Jasper. This is my ranch. You're safe here." Still nothing, but her eyes stayed on him, calculating. "I'm gonna get you some water. Don't run. Your feet—" He stopped himself. Like she could run anywhere with feet like that. "Just stay there." He filled a cup at the pump, brought it back. She took it with both hands, drank too fast, choked. Water spilled down her chin onto the coat. She froze. Set down the cup with shaking hands. Squeezed her eyes shut. Waiting. Jasper's chest went tight. She was waiting for punishment, for spilling, for making a mess, for existing. "It's just water," he said, voice rougher than he meant. "Ain't nothing to be sorry for." She opened her eyes, looked at him like she was trying to solve a puzzle that didn't have an answer. "What's your name?" Jasper tried again. A long pause, then barely audible, "Mercy." "Mercy, that's good. You got a family name." She shook her head. "Where you from?" "Nothing. How long you been walking?" Her hand moved to her wrist fingers, touching something there. A faded blue ribbon tied tight. "Long time," she whispered. Jasper sat down across the kitchen from her. Put the whole room between them. Let her see she had space, had exits, had choices. "You hungry?" "No, sir." First time she'd said sir. Like armor. Like a word she'd learned kept men's fists at their sides. "When's the last time you ate silence?" "Mercy, I'm gonna ask you something, and I need you to tell me true. You understand?" She nodded small. "Who did that to your neck?" Her hand flew up, covering the bruises. Her face went blank. The kind of blank that came from practice, from learning that showing anything got you hurt worse. "Nobody," she said. "Somebody did." "I fell." "You fell on your own throat." Her chin trembled. But she didn't cry. Jasper had a feeling she'd learned not to cry a long time ago. "You ain't gotta tell me," he said. "Not tonight. But whoever did that, they ain't getting near you again. You hear me?" She stared at him, searching for the lie, finding something else instead. "Why?" she asked. "Why what? Why do you care?" The question hit him center mass. He didn't have an answer. Not one that made sense. He was a broken-down rancher who hadn't cared about anything in 5 years. Who'd let his own son die while he was off playing hero. Who had no business caring about anyone's child when he'd failed so completely with his own. But here was this girl, barefoot in the snow, knocked on his door out of 1,000 doors she could have found. And something in him, something he'd thought was dead, had woken up. "Don't know," he said honestly. "But I do." Abigail Cross arrived within the hour, her medical bag in one hand, a lantern in the other. She was a tall woman, 40 years old, with gray streaking her brown hair, and a face that had stopped caring what men thought of it a long time ago. She took one look at Mercy and knelt down without a word. "Hello, sweetheart," Abigail said softly. "I'm Dr. Cross. I'm gonna look at your feet, make sure they're okay. That all right with you?" Mercy looked at Jasper. "She's safe," Jasper said. "Best doctor in the territory. Probably the only one who knows what she's doing." "Only one foolish enough to come out in this weather," Abigail muttered, but there was no heat in it. She reached for Mercy's foot, moved slow, telegraphing every motion. Mercy let her. Abigail's face went tight as she examined the damage. Frostbite, blisters forming where the cold had bit deepest. But no black yet. No dead tissue. Another hour out there, Abigail said quietly. We'd be talking about taking these off at the ankle. Jasper's stomach turned. She gonna be all right? If she stays warm, if we treat this right. Abigail pulled off Mercy's coat, gentle but firm. Mercy stiffened, but didn't fight. In the candlelight, Jasper could see all of it now. The bruises weren't just on her neck. They covered her arms. Her shoulders disappeared beneath her dress. Old and new, yellow and purple, a map of pain that went back months, maybe years. Abigail's jaw set hard. Jasper. Kitchen. Now. They stepped away from Mercy, voices low. Where'd she come from? Abigail demanded. Don't know. She just showed up, knocked on the door. In this weather, barefoot. That's what I said. Abigail glanced back at Mercy, who was watching them with those calculating eyes. Those marks aren't from falling, Jasper. Someone's been beating that child, regularly, for a long time. I know. You know who? No. You gonna find out? Yes. Abigail studied him. They'd known each other 15 years. She'd stitched him up after bar fights, after horse accidents. After that time, he'd gotten himself shot chasing rustlers. She'd been at Samuel's funeral. At his wife Margaret's funeral 3 days later. She'd watched Jasper Thornton become a ghost. And now, for the first time in 5 years, she saw something in his eyes that wasn't dead. I should report this, she said. Sheriff ought to know. Sheriff's going to ask where she came from. Then he's going to send her back. Maybe she's got family. Family don't do that to a child, Abigail. The law says, the law put her wherever she came from. The law let someone beat her until she had to walk 60 miles in January to get away. You really think the law's gonna help her now? Abigail was quiet a long moment. Then she sighed. 2 days. I can give you 2 days before I have to say anything. After that, I've got obligations. 2 days. Figure out where she came from, Jasper. Figure out why she's running. Because if you can't, then I'll deal with it. Will you? Because taking in a stray child isn't like taking in a stray horse. You can't just feed her and let her go. Jasper looked at Mercy, small and scared and holding that blue ribbon like it was the only thing keeping her alive. I ain't letting her go, he said. Not back to whoever did that. Abigail finished treating Mercy's feet. Wrapped them in clean bandages, gave Jasper instructions on keeping them warm, warned him about infection. She needs food, Abigail said before she left. Real food. Not whatever whiskey and regret you've been living on. Can you manage that? I'll manage. Abigail touched his arm. Jasper, don't make me regret this. After she was gone, after Tomas had returned and taken up his post by the fire like a silent guardian, Jasper found himself alone with Mercy again. She hadn't moved from her spot by the stove, still wrapped in blankets, now still watching him like she expected the other boot to drop any second. You need sleep, Jasper said. Got a room upstairs. Bed's warm. Mercy's eyes went wide. Where do you sleep? Down the hall. How far? 30 feet, maybe. You going to lock the door? No. Why not? Because you ain't a prisoner. She looked at him like she didn't believe a word of it. But she stood anyway. Held the blankets around her like armor. Mr. Jasper. Just Jasper. Jasper. She said it like she was testing the word. Can you keep the candle burning downstairs through the night? His throat went tight. Samuel's candle. The vigil he'd kept for 5 years. For a ghost who couldn't see it. Yeah, he heard himself say. I'll keep it burning. All night. All night. Something in her face eased. Not much, but enough. She let him show her upstairs. Let him point out the bathroom, the bedroom. She stood in the doorway like she was afraid to step inside. What's wrong? Jasper asked. Mercy was looking at the bed, the window, the closet, calculating distances, exit routes. Nothing, she said finally. and stepped inside. Jasper went back downstairs, sat at the kitchen table. The candle burned steady in front of him. He'd kept it lit for Samuel. Every night, for 5 years. A vigil for a son he'd failed. A promise to a ghost who couldn't hear it. Now a living girl was upstairs, asking him for the same light. He put his head in his hands. Outside, the Wyoming winter howled against the walls. Inside, the candle kept burning, and Jasper Thornton, for the first time in 5 years, felt something besides empty. By morning, Mercy had checked every window in the house twice. Jasper pretended not to notice. He sat in the kitchen at dawn, coffee going cold in his hands, listening to the floorboards creak upstairs. She was moving from room to room, checking locks, testing windows, mapping escape routes. Smart kid, survival instincts. The kind you only got from needing them. She appeared at the bottom of the stairs, still wearing that oversized coat over the nightgown Tomas had found somewhere. Her bandaged feet made soft sounds on the wood. "Morning," Jasper said. She froze, hand on the railing. "Morning, sir." "Just Jasper. You hungry?" "No, sir." "When's the last time you ate Mercy real food?" She didn't answer, but her eyes went to the stove, to the pot of oatmeal Tomas had left warming there. Jasper stood, moved slow. Dished out a bowl, set it on the table. "Sit," he said. "Eat." Mercy approached like she was approaching a trap, sat in the chair farthest from him, pulled the bowl close. Then she ate. Fast. Too fast. Cramming oatmeal into her mouth like it might disappear, like someone might take it away, like she'd learned that food was never guaranteed. Jasper's jaw tightened. He'd seen starving cattle eat slower. She finished the bowl in under a minute, then sat back, eyes wide. Stomach probably cramping from eating so fast after so long without. But she didn't complain, just went still, waiting. "You can have more," Jasper said. "I'm good." "There's plenty." "I said I'm good." The defiance surprised him. First time she'd pushed back. First time she'd sounded like something other than a beaten dog. "All right," Jasper said. "Your call." Tomas came in from outside, stomping snow off his boots. He carried a bundle wrapped in brown paper. "Got clothes from town," Tomas said, setting the bundle on the table. "Mrs. Porter at the general store said take what fits, pay later." Mercy stared at the bundle. "What do I owe?" she asked. Tomas blinked. "What?" "For the clothes. How much?" "Nothing. They're given." "Nothing's free." The way she said it, flat, factual, like a law of nature, made Jasper's chest hurt. 10 years old, and she already knew the world kept ledgers, knew the bill always came due. "These are," Tomas said gently, "from Mrs. Porter. She's got a good heart." Mercy looked at Jasper for confirmation. He nodded. She took the bundle, held it close. "Thank you," she whispered. "Just Tomas, Nina. Don't need the thanks." She nodded, but Jasper knew she'd keep saying it anyway. Gratitude was armor, same as sir. Words that kept grown folks from getting angry. After she'd gone upstairs to change, Tomas jerked his head toward the door. Jasper followed him outside. The morning was gray and heavy, snow everywhere, sky like old iron. "Talk to some folks in town," Tomas said quietly. Careful like, not asking direct. And orphan train came through Cheyenne 2 months back. Dropped about 15 children. Most got taken by families around here. Jasper's gut tightened. "Taken? You know how it works, patron. Folks come pick out the ones that look strong enough to work. Call it adoption. Ain't adoption." "Who took her?" Tomas was quiet a moment. "Morrison." The name hit like a punch. Silas Morrison. Biggest ranch in the territory. Richest man in 3 counties. Sat on the town council, donated to the church, shook hands with the governor when he came through. Respectable. Powerful. Untouchable. And the kind of man who smiled at church while his eyes followed women and children in ways that made folks uncomfortable but nobody wanted to talk about. "You sure?" Jasper asked. "Sure as I can be. Morrison took 2 girls from that train. One died last month. Fever, they said. Other one ran. Looks like." Jasper stared out at the white fields, the mountains beyond. 60 miles from Cheyenne, in January. Barefoot. "She walked 60 miles to get away from him," Jasper said. "Looks like," Tomas said again. "He's going to come looking." "Probably already is." Jasper's hands curled into fists. "He ain't taking her back." "Patron, he ain't taking her, Tomas, not while I'm breathing." The old foreman studied him. "This gonna get ugly, you know. Morrison's got friends, sheriff, judge. Half the territory owes him money or favors." "I know. So what you gonna do?" Jasper didn't have an answer. Not yet. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. Mercy had knocked on his door. Out of all the doors in Wyoming, she'd knocked on his. And he wasn't going to be the man who turned her away. Not this time. Not again. "Whatever I have to," Jasper said finally. Tomas nodded slowly. Didn't argue. Just looked back at the house at the window where a small face had appeared watching them. "That little girl," Tomas said quietly. "She's already planning her escape. Saw her testing windows this morning." "I know. She don't trust you yet." "I know that too. So how you gonna make her stay?" Jasper looked at Mercy's face in the window, those eyes that had seen too much, that blue ribbon tied around her wrist. "I ain't gonna make her do anything," he said. "I'm just gonna show up, every day, until she believes it." Tomas was quiet a long moment. Then, "That boy of yours, Samuel, he'd be proud, I think." Jasper's throat closed up. "Don't know about that," he managed. "I do." Tomas clapped him on the shoulder. "Now come inside before we both freeze. That girl's gonna need feeding again soon, and you can't cook worth a damn." Jones. That night Jasper found Mercy at the kitchen table, staring at the candle. He sat down across from her. Their usual places, though they'd only been doing this 2 days. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "No, sir. Just Jasper." She didn't answer, just kept looking at the flame. "You keep that burning all night," she said finally. Not a question. "Yeah." "Why?" Jasper looked at the candle, at the way the light pushed back the darkness, but only so far. "My boy," he said. "Samuel. He was afraid of the dark. After he died, I started keeping it lit. In case he comes back." Something like that. Mercy was quiet a long moment. Her fingers touched the blue ribbon on her wrist. "My sister," she said softly. Hope. She was scared of dark too. Jasper waited. Didn't push. At the Morrison place, when he got mad, he'd take all the candles. Lock us in the cellar. No light at all. Said it would teach us to be grateful. Jesus Christ. "How long were you there?" Jasper asked. 2 months. Hope got sick after 3 weeks. Fever. They wouldn't get a doctor. Said she'd be fine. Mercy's voice went flat. "She wasn't fine." "Mercy. She died asking for me, asking why I wasn't there. But I was in the cellar. He'd locked me up because I spilled water on the floor. I couldn't get to her." Her hands were shaking, but her eyes stayed dry, like she'd cried everything out a long time ago. "That's why you ran," Jasper said. "That's why I ran." She looked at him. "Mr. Morrison's going to come for me. You know that." "I know." "You can't stop him. He's got the sheriff, the judge, everyone." "Maybe. So why are you doing this?" Jasper thought about it. About Samuel, about failure, about 5 years of keeping a candle lit for a ghost who couldn't see it. "Because my boy asked me to come to his birthday party," Jasper said slowly. "I told him I couldn't, Had to chase some outlaws down near Laramie. Said I'd make it up to him. His voice cracked. 3 days later he was dead. Train robbers hit the coach he and his mama were on. I wasn't there. Wasn't there to protect them. And I can't change that. Can't bring them back. He looked at Mercy. But you knocked on my door. You're here, alive. And maybe I can't save the ones I lost, but maybe I can save you. Mercy stared at him, searching for the lie, for the catch, for the moment he'd turn on her like every other adult in her life had. They all say things like that, she whispered. Then they don't mean it. I know. So how do I know you're different? You don't, not yet. But I'm gonna show you, every day, until you believe it. Silence. The candle flickered between them. Mr. Jasper. Yeah. Can I? She hesitated. Can I have a candle for my room in case the dark gets bad? Something cracked open in his chest. Yeah, he said. You can have one. He found a candle, gave it to her, watched her hold it like something precious. Go on to bed, he said. I'll keep this one burning down here, and yours upstairs. 2 lights in the dark. Mercy stood, hesitated. Thank you, she whispered. For not sending me back. Not yet a yet about it. You're staying, long as you want. She went upstairs. Jasper sat alone in the kitchen watching the candle burn. For 5 years he'd kept this light going for the dead. Now a living girl had asked him for the same thing. Maybe that meant something. Maybe it was just coincidence. But either way, Jasper Thornton was done being the man who wasn't there. Tomorrow Morrison would probably come looking. Tomorrow there'd be hell to pay. But tonight 2 candles burned in the darkness. One for the dead, one for the living. And that had to be enough. Morrison came on the 3rd day. Jasper heard the horses before he saw them. 4 riders moving fast up the road toward his ranch. He set down his coffee, reached for the rifle by the door. Tomas, the old foreman, was already moving. I see them, Patron. Get Mercy upstairs. Keep her there. Tomas crossed to the stairs where Mercy had frozen her face, going white. Come, Nina. Upstairs. Now. It's him, Mercy whispered. He found me. Upstairs, Jasper said. His voice was calm, but his eyes weren't. Stay in your room. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. Mercy didn't move. Her whole body was shaking. Mercy. Jasper crossed to her, knelt down so they were eye to eye. Look at me. You hear me? She nodded small. Nobody's taking you out of this house. Not today. Not ever. You understand? You can't stop him. He owns everyone. He don't own me. Jasper put his hand on her shoulder. Gentle. Now go. Let me handle this. Tomas took her arm, guided her up the stairs. Jasper waited until he heard the door close, the lock click. Then he stepped onto the porch. Silas Morrison sat tall on a black horse, expensive coat, silver buttons catching the weak winter sun. He was 50 years old, gray at the temples, with the kind of face that smiled easy and meant nothing by it. Behind him rode 3 men, ranch hands by the look of them, armed. Thornton. Morrison tipped his hat, friendly as Sunday church. Been a while. Morrison. Cold morning for a visit, I know, but I've got a problem I'm hoping you can help with. That's so. Lost some property a few days back. Little girl I took in from the orphan train. Charity case, you understand. Trying to give her a good home. Morrison's smile didn't reach his eyes. Word around town is, she might have ended up this way. Jasper leaned against the porch rail. The rifle stayed in his hands. Lot of territory between here and Cheyenne. She could be anywhere. Could be, but Mrs. Porter at the general store says your man Tomas came in yesterday. Bought clothes. Little girl's clothes. Morrison's smile widened. Now I'm not accusing you of anything, Jasper. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. There is. I bought clothes for a stray dog. One of Morrison's men snorted. Morrison silenced him with a look. Jasper, let's not do this dance. The girl belongs to me. I've got papers. Papers. Legal adoption. Signed and witnessed. She's my ward until she turns 18. Morrison spread his hands. I'm just trying to bring her home. Jasper thought about the bruises on Mercy's neck. The way she flinched from touch. The sister who'd died of fever in Morrison's care. Ain't seen any girl, Jasper said. Then you won't mind if we search the property. I mind. Morrison's smile faded. Just a little. Just enough. Thornton, I'm trying to be civil here. That child is my legal responsibility. If you're harboring her, that's kidnapping. You want Sheriff Callahan involved in this? Sheriff can come whenever he likes. And Judge Peters. You want to explain to a judge why you're keeping another man's property. Property. He called her property. Jasper's grip tightened on the rifle. Get off my land, Morrison. Now, Jasper. I said get off. The air went cold, colder than the weather. Morrison's men shifted in their saddles' hands, moving toward their guns. Morrison raised a hand, stopping them. All right, he said softly. All right, Thornton. We'll do this the other way. He turned his horse, started to ride off, then stopped, looked back. You know what I think? I think that girl told you some stories. Wild stories. The kind scared children make up when they don't want to go home. Jasper said nothing. I think you believe them, because you're a man who lost his own child, and you're looking for something to fill that hole. Morrison's voice went gentle, almost kind. But Jasper, she's not your daughter. She's not Sarah. And whatever she told you about me, it ain't true, Samuel Jasper thought. His name was Samuel, not Sarah, but he didn't correct him, just watched Morrison ride away, the three men following. When they were out of sight, Jasper went back inside. Tomas was at the top of the stairs. She heard everything, wouldn't stay in her room. Mercy stood behind him, face streaked with tears. He's going to come back, she said. With the sheriff, with everyone, and they're going to take me. No, Jasper said. You can't stop them. Mercy. He killed Hope. Her voice broke. He didn't touch her, he just let her die. Wouldn't get a doctor. Kept her locked up until the fever took her. And nobody cared. Nobody asked questions. Because he's Morrison and everyone's afraid of him. She was shaking so hard her teeth chattered. If I go back, he'll kill me too. Maybe not fast, maybe slow, but he'll do it, and nobody will stop him. Jasper crossed to her, knelt down. Listen to me, he said. You listening? She nodded. I was a Texas Ranger for 15 years. I've faced outlaws, killers, men who'd shoot their own mothers for $1, and not one of them scared me. He took her hands, small and cold in his rough ones. Morrison don't scare me either. I don't care how much money he's got. I don't care who he owns. He wants you, he's going to have to go through me. Why? Mercy whispered. Why do you care so much? Jasper thought about Samuel, about all the times he'd chosen work over family, about the grave he visited every month bringing flowers his son couldn't see. Because I failed someone once, he said. Someone who needed me. And I've spent 5 years trying to figure out how to live with that. His voice cracked. Maybe I can't fix what I broke, but I can fix this. I can keep you safe. And I'm going to. You hear me? I'm going to. Mercy stared at him. Then slowly she leaned forward, put her arms around his neck. It was the first time she'd hugged him. Jasper held her, felt her tears soak into his shirt, felt her small body shake with sobs she'd been holding back for months. I got you, he said. I got you, kid. Over her head, he met Tomas's eyes. War was coming. They both knew it. But for this moment in this house, with this child in his arms, Jasper Thornton felt something he hadn't felt in 5 years. Purpose. Sheriff Beauregard Callahan rode up 2 hours later. Jasper was waiting on the porch. Alone this time. Tomas had taken Mercy to the barn, shown her the horses, keeping her busy, keeping her hidden. Bo dismounted slow. He was 50 years old, thick through the middle, with a face that had seen too much and forgotten how to be surprised by any of it. He and Jasper had ridden together once back in the Ranger days, before everything went wrong. Jasper. Bo. Morrison came to see me. I figured. Bo took off his hat, ran a hand through thinning hair. Says you've got a child here, a girl he's got legal claim to. He say what he did to her. Says she's a runaway. Says she tells stories. Stories. Jasper's jaw tightened. Those bruises on her neck stories too. The ones on her arms, her ribs. She got so skinny because she tells stories. Bo was quiet a moment. I ain't saying I believe him, Jasper. I'm saying he's got papers, legal papers, and the law. The law let him kill her sister. Bo's head came up. What? Girl named Hope, 7 years old. Morrison took her from the same orphan train. She died last month. Fever, they said. But Morrison wouldn't get a doctor. Kept her locked up. Let her die. You got proof of that. I got Mercy's word. A child's word against Morrison's. Bo shook his head. Jasper, you know how this goes. Judge ain't going to take a 10-year-old's testimony over a man like Morrison. Not without evidence. Then help me find evidence. Bo looked at him for a long moment. You're asking me to go against the richest man in the territory. Man who pays half my salary through his taxes. Man who's got the judge and the mayor and half the town council in his pocket. I'm asking you to do your job. My job is to enforce the law, and the law says that girl belongs to Morrison until someone proves otherwise. Jasper stepped forward. Bo, look at me. Bo met his eyes. You remember that raid in '79, down near the border, when those rustlers had us pinned down and you took a bullet in the shoulder? I remember. Who carried you 3 miles to safety? You did. And when your wife was dying of consumption, who sat with you through every night of it? Who helped you bury her? Bo's jaw worked. You know the answer. Then you know I wouldn't ask this if it wasn't right. That girl in there, she walked 60 miles barefoot in January to get away from Morrison. 60 miles, Bo. She almost died. You think she did that because she tells stories? Silence stretched between them. Finally, Bo put his hat back on. I can give you a week, he said quietly. After that, if Morrison pushes, and he will push, I'm going to have to do something. A week. Find me evidence, Jasper. Something I can take to a judge. Something that proves Morrison's unfit. Otherwise... He trailed off. Otherwise, you take her. Otherwise, I don't have a choice. Bo mounted his horse, looked down at Jasper. For what it's worth, I believe you. I've seen Morrison's eyes when he looks at certain folks. Women. Children. Something ain't right there. Then help me prove it. I can't. Not officially. Bo paused. But you might want to talk to Mrs. Blackwood. She worked for Morrison last year. Left sudden. Lives out past Miller's Creek now. Mrs. Blackwood. Might be she saw something. Might be she'd be willing to talk. Bo touched his hat. 1 week, Jasper. That's all I can give you. He rode away. Jasper stood on the porch, mind racing. 1 week to find evidence against a man who owned half the territory. 1 week to save a girl who'd already lost everything. It wasn't enough time. He knew that. But it was all he had. That evening, Jasper told Mercy about the week. They were sitting at the kitchen table, the candle burning between them. She'd eaten dinner slowly this time, trusting it wouldn't be taken away, and now she was watching him with those eyes that saw too much. 1 week, she repeated. Then what? Then we figure something else out. There is nothing else. He owns everyone. Sheriff, judge, everyone. He don't own Mrs. Blackwood. Mercy went still. Who? Woman who worked for Morrison, left last year. Sheriff thinks she might have seen something. Seen what? Don't know yet. I'm going to find out. Mercy's fingers touched the blue ribbon on her wrist. Her thinking gesture Jasper had noticed. There was a woman, she said slowly. When Hope and me first got to the Morrison place, cook, I think, nice. She'd sneak us extra food sometimes. What happened to her? She left. One day she was there, next day she wasn't. Mr. Morrison said she'd found another job. But, Mercy hesitated. But her things were still there. Her coat, her shoes, everything. If she got another job, why'd she leave everything behind? Jasper's gut tightened. You remember her name? Emma maybe? Or Ellen? Mercy shook her head. Something with an E. Mrs. Blackwood's first name is Elizabeth. Mercy looked up sharply. You think it's her? I think I'm going to find out. He rode out at dawn. Miller's Creek was 8 miles east through territory that was all snow and silence this time of year. Jasper pushed his horse hard, mind churning through possibilities. If Elizabeth Blackwood had seen something at Morrison's place, really seen something, it could change everything. Could give Beau the evidence he needed. Could keep Mercy safe. But if Morrison had found out what she'd seen, what she might say, then why was she still alive? He found the Blackwood place around noon. Small cabin smoke rising from the chimney. A woman's shape in the window watching him approach. He dismounted, hands visible, non-threatening. The door opened a crack. Mrs. Blackwood. Who's asking? Jasper Thornton. I own a ranch west of Red Creek. I need to talk to you about Silas Morrison. The door slammed shut. Jasper waited. Didn't move. Didn't push. After a long moment, the door opened again. Wider this time. Elizabeth Blackwood was 40 years old, thin with haunted eyes that reminded Jasper too much of Mercy's. You one of his men? She asked. No, ma'am. I'm the man who's trying to stop him. She studied him. Whatever she saw in his face must have been enough. Come in, she said. Before someone sees you. The cabin was small but clean. Elizabeth poured coffee, set it in front of him. Her hands were shaking. You said you want to stop Morrison. I do. Why? Jasper told her. About Mercy. About the bruises. About Hope dying of fever that shouldn't have been fatal. About Morrison coming to his ranch calling a child his property. Elizabeth listened. Her face went paler with every word. When he finished, she was silent a long time. I worked for him 8 months, she said finally. Cook like your girl said. At first it seemed like a good position. Pay was decent. Work wasn't too hard. What changed? Elizabeth's hands tightened around her coffee cup. He started coming to the kitchen at night, late, after everyone else was asleep, said he wanted a snack. But the way he looked at me, she shuddered. I started locking my door, started keeping a knife under my pillow. Did he ever? No. But those girls, the ones from the orphan train. Her voice cracked. I heard things, at night, coming from the cellar, crying, screaming sometimes. He'd go down there after dinner, stay for hours. Jasper's stomach turned. And you didn't say anything. Elizabeth's eyes flashed. Who was I going to tell Sheriff Judge they eat at his table, drink his whiskey? You think they'd believe a cook over the richest man in Wyoming? She had a point. What about the girl who died? Hope. I was gone before that happened, but I knew it was coming. Elizabeth's voice dropped. That child was skin and bones when I left. Morrison barely fed them, said it kept them grateful, kept them obedient. Why'd you leave, really? Elizabeth was quiet a long moment. He caught me, she said, sneaking food to the girls, extra bread, some cheese, nothing much, but he caught me. What did he do? Said if I ever told anyone what I'd seen, he'd kill me. Said he knew people. Said they'd find my body in a ditch somewhere and no one would ask questions. She looked at Jasper. I believed him. I still believe him. So I left. That night. Didn't even pack my things. But you're talking to me now. Because those girls. Tears started rolling down Elizabeth's cheeks. I think about them every night. What he's doing to them. What he did to Hope. And I tell myself there's nothing I can do. Nothing anyone can do. But that's a lie, isn't it? I could have told someone. Could have tried. She wiped her eyes. So here I am. Telling you. What good does it do? Jasper leaned forward. Would you say this to a judge? If I could get you protection, would you testify? Elizabeth laughed bitterly. What protection? Morrison owns the law in this territory. Not all of it. Sheriff Callahan. Callahan won't cross Morrison. Nobody will. I will. She looked at him. Saw something in his face that made her pause. Why? She asked. Why do you care so much about one orphan girl? Jasper thought about Samuel, about the grave he visited every month, about 5 years of candles burning for a ghost. Because I failed someone once, he said, and I'm done failing. Elizabeth studied him for a long moment. Come back tomorrow, she said finally. Let me think about it. Pray about it. If I decide to testify, I'll need guarantees, protection, somewhere to go after. Because Morrison will come for me, Mr. Thornton. Make no mistake about that. I'll protect you, same as the girl. You think you can take on Morrison and his men and the whole damn system? Jasper stood, finished his coffee. I reckon we'll find out. He rode back to the ranch as the sun was setting. Tomas met him at the barn. His face was grim. What is it? Jasper asked. Morrison was here, while you were gone. Jasper's blood went cold. Mercy. She's fine. He didn't get near her. But he left a message. What message? Tomas handed him a piece of paper. Fancy stationery. Morrison's seal at the top. Jasper read it. 3 days, Thornton. Hand over what's mine or I burn everything you have to the ground. Your ranch, your cattle, your reputation, everything. Jasper crumpled the paper. Where's Mercy? Kitchen. With Dr. Cross. Abigail came by to check on her feet. Jasper strode toward the house. Found Mercy at the table, Abigail rewrapping her bandages. The girl's eyes were red. She'd been crying. He was here, Mercy said. Her voice was flat. Dead. I saw him from the window. He looked right at me. He smiled. Jasper knelt beside her. He's not going to hurt you. You don't know that. I know that I'm not going to let him. How? Mercy pulled her hands away. How are you going to stop him? He's got money. He's got men. He's got everyone. And you're just one person. One person against all of them. Then I'll be one person against all of them. You'll die. Maybe. And then what happens to me? The question hung in the air. Abigail finished with the bandages, stood up. Jasper. Outside. Now. They stepped onto the porch. The sun was almost gone, the sky bleeding red and purple. Morrison came while you were gone, Abigail said. Had 4 men with him. They rode around the property, looking, measuring, like they were planning something. He's going to move soon. Tonight maybe, tomorrow. Jasper, you need help. Real help. Not just Tomas and a rifle. Who's going to help me against Morrison? Abigail was quiet a moment. Reverend Hale's got influence. People respect him. And there are folks in town who don't like Morrison. They're just scared to say it. Scared don't do me any good. Maybe not, but desperate might. Abigail looked at him. That woman at Miller's Creek. She talked to you. She might testify, needs protection first. Get Hale involved. If the church backs her, Morrison can't touch her without touching the whole congregation. Abigail squeezed his arm. "You're not alone in this, Jasper. You just have to let people help." She left. Jasper stood on the porch watching the darkness settle over his land. 3 days, Morrison had said. 3 days to find evidence. 3 days to get protection for Elizabeth Blackwood. 3 days to figure out how to fight a man who owned half the territory. Not enough time. But it was all he had. He went inside, found Mercy still at the table staring at the candle. "I found someone," he said. "Someone who might be able to help." Mercy looked up. "Who?" "Woman named Elizabeth Blackwood. She worked for Morrison. She saw things. Bad things." "Will she talk?" "If I can protect her." "Can you—" Jasper sat down across from Mercy. The candle flickered between them. "I'm going to try." Mercy's fingers touched the blue ribbon. That thinking gesture again. "Hope would like you," she said softly. "She always wanted someone to fight for us. Someone who wouldn't give up. What about you? What do you want?" Mercy was quiet a long moment. "I want to stop being scared," she said finally. "I want to wake up in the morning and not wonder if today's the day everything falls apart. I want to be a kid, just a kid, like I was supposed to be." Jasper's throat went tight. "That's what I want for you too." "Then don't die." Mercy's voice cracked. "Promise me you won't die." "I can't promise that." "Then promise you'll try. Promise you'll fight. Promise you won't just give up like everyone else." Jasper reached across the table, took her hand. "I promise," he said. "Every time they come, I fight. Every time they try to take you, I stand in the way. Until they kill me or I figure out how to win." Mercy held his gaze, looking for the lie, not finding one. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." Outside, the wind picked up. A storm was coming. Jasper could feel it in his bones. But tonight the candle burned steady. Tonight they were still safe. Tomorrow would take care of itself. The storm hit before dawn. Jasper woke to the sound of wind tearing at the walls, snow hammering against every window. He lay still, listening. Something else had woken him. Something that wasn't weather. Footsteps. Downstairs. He grabbed his revolver, moved silent through the dark hallway. The floorboards knew his weight didn't creak under him. 15 years as a ranger had taught him how to move like a ghost. At the top of the stairs, he stopped. Listened. The kitchen. Someone was in the kitchen. Jasper descended slow, revolver raised. 1 step. 2. 3. He came around the corner, fast weapon leveled. Mercy screamed. She was standing at the stove, a pot of water in her hands. The pot crashed to the floor, water spreading across the boards. "Don't shoot!" She threw her hands up, eyes wide with terror. Jasper lowered the gun immediately. "Christ, Mercy! I couldn't sleep." Her voice shook. "I was making tea. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, I'll clean it up." She dropped to her knees, started mopping the water with her nightgown. Her hands were shaking so bad she could barely hold the fabric. Jasper set the revolver on the table, knelt beside her. "Stop. Mercy, stop. I made a mess. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad. Please." "I ain't mad. I'll clean it. I'll clean everything. Just don't—" "Mercy." He caught her hands, stilled them. "Look at me." She looked up, tears streaming down her face. "I ain't mad," Jasper said again, softer this time. "You scared me is all. I thought Morrison's men had gotten in. You pointed a gun at me. I didn't know it was you. You could have shot me." The words hit him like a fist. She was right. In the dark, startled, he could have pulled that trigger before he recognized her. "You're right," he said. "That was wrong. I'm sorry." Mercy stared at him. "You're apologizing to me." "Why wouldn't I? Grown-ups don't apologize to children." This one does, when he's wrong. She didn't seem to know what to do with that. Just knelt there in the puddle of water shivering. "Come on," Jasper said. "Get up, I'll make the tea." "I can do it?" "I know you can, but I want to." He helped her to a chair, wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. Then he put fresh water on. Found the tea leaves Tomas kept in the cabinet. The candle still burned on the table, lower now, wax pooling, but still going. "I had a dream," Mercy said quietly. "About hope." Jasper didn't turn from the stove, waited. "She was calling for me, from somewhere dark, asking why I didn't come, why I left her alone. It was just a dream." "Was it?" Mercy's voice cracked. "Because it feels real. Every night it feels real. Like she's still there. Still waiting for me to save her." Jasper poured hot water into 2 cups, brought them to the table, sat across from her. "Samuel comes to me sometimes," he said. "In dreams. He's always 8 years old, always wearing that suit his mama bought him for church, and he's always asking the same thing. 'What? Why didn't you come, Daddy? Why weren't you there?'" Mercy wrapped her hands around the warm cup. "What do you tell him?" "Nothing. I just stand there, can't speak, can't move, just watch him fade away." Jasper stared at his own cup. "Worst part is he ain't angry, just sad, just disappointed, like he expected me to let him down." "Did you let him down?" "Every day of his life." The words came out raw. Jasper hadn't meant to say them, hadn't meant to say any of this. "I don't believe that," Mercy said. "You didn't know me then." "I know you now." She met his eyes. "And the man I know wouldn't let a child down, not if he could help it." Jasper's throat closed up. "Maybe I'm trying to be different now. Maybe that's all any of us can do." They sat in silence drinking tea while the storm raged outside and the candle burned steady between them. By morning the storm had buried everything. Tomas came in stamping snow off his boots, face grim. "Roads are gone, Patron. Drifts higher than a horse in some places. Nobody's getting in or out today." Jasper nodded. "Morrison. If he was planning something for today, the weather stopped it. But tomorrow, when this clears." "I know." Mercy was sitting by the fire, wrapped in blankets. She'd barely spoken since their talk in the night. Just watched. Waited. "I need to get to Reverend Hale," Jasper said. "Today, before Morrison can move." "In this." Tomas gestured at the window at the white wall of snow beyond. "You'll die before you get a mile. Then I'll die trying." "Patron. That girl's life depends on getting witnesses, getting protection. If I wait for clear weather, Morrison beats us to it." Tomas studied him, then sighed. "I'll saddle your horse, the Big Bay. He's got the best legs for deep snow." "I'll come with you." Mercy stood up, blankets falling away. "No? I can help." "You can help by staying here, staying safe." Jasper crossed to her. "If something happens to me out there, Tomas will get you to the church. Reverend Hale will protect you. And if Morrison comes while you're gone, he won't, not in this weather. You don't know that. I know I can't take you with me, not with those feet, not in this cold." Mercy's chin trembled. "You're going to leave me, just like everyone else." "I'm going to fight for you. That's different." "Is it?" Jasper knelt down, eye to eye with her. "I'm coming back," he said. "You hear me? I'm coming back. Promise. Promise." She threw her arms around him, held tight, then let go, just as Quick stepped back, crossed her arms. "Fine," she said. "Go. But if you die out there, I'm going to be really mad at you." Despite everything, Jasper almost smiled. "I'll keep that in mind." The ride was brutal. Snow came up past his horse's chest in places. Wind cut through every layer Jasper wore. Twice he had to dismount, led the bay through drifts that would have swallowed them both otherwise. But he kept moving, 1 mile. 2. 3. Red Creek was only 5 miles from his ranch, but in this weather 5 miles might as well be 50. By the time he saw the church steeple, his hands were numb. His face was raw. His horse was stumbling with exhaustion. Jasper tied the bay to the hitching post, staggered up the church steps, pushed through the door. Reverend Ezekiel Hale looked up from his desk, startled. "Jasper, good Lord, man, what are you doing out in this—" "Need your help, Reverend." Jasper's voice was hoarse. "Need it now." Hale was on his feet, immediately guiding Jasper to a chair by the pot-bellied stove. "Sit. Warm yourself. What's happened?" Jasper told him. "Everything. Mercy, Morrison, the bruises, Elizabeth Blackwood, the 3-day ultimatum." Hale listened without interrupting. His face went darker with every word. When Jasper finished, the Reverend was silent a long moment. "I've had my suspicions about Morrison," Hale said finally. "The way he looks at women, at children, something wrong in those eyes." "Then help me stop him." "How?" "Mrs. Blackwood will testify, but she needs protection. If the church backs her—" "The church is Morrison's biggest donor." Hale's voice was bitter. "Half this building was paid for with his money. He sits in the front pew every Sunday, drops more in the collection plate than everyone else combined." "So you're bought too." "I'm telling you what we're up against." Hale stood paced to the window. "You're asking me to go to war with the most powerful man in the territory. A man who could destroy this church, destroy me, destroy everyone who stands with us. I'm asking you to save a child's life." Hale turned back. "You think I don't know that? You think I don't see what's at stake? Then what's the problem? The problem is, even if I back you, even if Mrs. Blackwood testifies, Morrison has the judge, has the sheriff, has everyone who matters." "Not everyone." Hale raised an eyebrow. "Who else is there? The town, the people. They're scared of Morrison, but they're not all bad. They're not all bought. And you think they'll stand up against him? I think if you give them permission, if the church tells them it's okay to fight back, some of them will." Hale was quiet a long time. "My father was a preacher," he said finally. "Back in Virginia before the war. When the fighting started, everyone expected him to stay neutral, keep his head down, preach about peace and forgiveness. What did he do? He stood up in the pulpit one Sunday and said that slavery was an abomination before God. Said any man who owned another human being was going to hell. What happened? They burned his church down, beat him half to death, run him out of town." Hale looked at Jasper. "But he never regretted it. Said there are times when a man of God has to choose between being comfortable and being righteous. This might be one of those times." "Does that mean you'll help?" Hale walked to his desk, pulled out paper and pen. "I'll write letters to every family in my congregation. Tell them what Morrison's done. Ask them to stand with us." "That'll take too long." "Then I'll go door to door myself, today." Hale started writing. "You get Mrs. Blackwood. Bring her here. I'll make sure she has sanctuary. Morrison will come for her. Then he'll have to come through me first." Hale looked up, fire in his eyes now. "I've been comfortable too long, Jasper. Playing politics with men like Morrison. Pretending I didn't see what I saw. That ends today." Jasper stood, extended his hand. Hale took it. "One more thing," Jasper said. "The girl. Mercy. If something happens to me, I'll protect her. You have my word." Jasper nodded, turned to leave. "Jasper," he stopped. "Your boy, Samuel. He'd be proud of what you're doing." Jasper's throat tightened. He didn't trust himself to speak. Just nodded again and walked out into the storm. He made it back to Miller's Creek by afternoon. Elizabeth Blackwood opened her door before he could knock, like she'd been waiting. "You came back," she said. "Told you I would. In this weather don't change what's right." She studied his face. Whatever she saw there made her step aside. "Come in, we need to talk." Inside, Elizabeth poured coffee. Her hands were still shaking, but less than before. "I've been thinking," she said, "about what you asked, about testifying. And I'm scared, Mr. Thornton, more scared than I've ever been in my life. I know. Morrison will kill me for this. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. I won't let that happen." "You can't promise that." "No, but I can promise I'll die trying to protect you." Elizabeth was quiet a moment. Then she laughed, soft, bitter. "You know what's funny? Morrison said something similar when he hired me. Said he'd take care of me. Said I'd be safe." "I ain't Morrison." "I know." She met his eyes. "That's why I'm going to do it. That's why I'm going to testify." Jasper let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. We still have to survive long enough to get to a courtroom." Elizabeth stood. "I'll get my things. Give me 10 minutes." She disappeared into the back room. Jasper waited, checked the window. The storm was letting up, but slowly. Still time to get back to Red Creek before dark if they left now. Then he heard it. Horses, coming fast. He was at the window in an instant. 4 riders pushing through the snow, coming straight for the cabin, Morrison's men. "Elizabeth." Jasper's voice cracked like a whip. "We need to go, now." She came running, a small bag in her hands, saw his face, understood immediately. "Back door," she said. "Through the root cellar." They moved fast. Through the kitchen, down a narrow staircase, into a dirt-walled cellar that smelled of potatoes and fear. Elizabeth pulled open a wooden hatch. "This comes up 50 yards behind the barn. My husband dug it during the Indian troubles. He was a smart man. He was a scared man. Same thing sometimes." They crawled through, dark, cold, dirt pressing close from every side. Above them, Jasper heard the front door crash open. Heard men shouting. He kept moving, elbows and knees through frozen earth, Elizabeth right behind him. The tunnel ended at another hatch. Jasper pushed it open, pulled himself out into the gray afternoon. Elizabeth came up after him, shaking dirt from her hair. "My horse is in the barn," she said, "but they'll see us if we go for it." "Then we take mine. He's tied up past the ridge." They ran, crouching low through the snow, every second expecting a shout, a gunshot, the sound of pursuit. Nothing came. They made it to the bay. Jasper helped Elizabeth into the saddle swung up behind her. "Hold on," he said, and kicked the horse into motion. They rode hard through the deepening dusk. The snow was still falling, covering their tracks almost as fast as they made them. Small blessing. 2 miles out, Jasper finally let himself breathe. "How'd they know?" Elizabeth asked, voice shaking. "How'd they know where I was? Morrison's got eyes everywhere. Probably had someone watching the roads. Then they'll come after us." "Let them try." But even as he said it, Jasper knew they were in trouble. 1 horse, 2 riders in heavy snow. Morrison's men would have fresh mounts, would be faster, would catch them before they reached Red Creek. Unless... "Change of plans," Jasper said. "We're not going to town." "Where then?" "My ranch. It's closer. We can hole up there. Send Tomas for help." "And if Morrison comes, then he'll find out what happens when you corner a man with nothing left to lose." They reached the ranch just after dark. Tomas met them at the barn, face tight with worry. "Patron, thank God. I was about to come looking for you. Get this horse inside. Warm him up." Jasper helped Elizabeth down. "This is Mrs. Blackwood. She needs protection." Tomas looked at the woman, at Jasper, at the exhaustion in both their faces. Nodded without question. "Inside, both of you. Mercy's been half crazy with worry." They stumbled toward the house. Jasper's legs felt like lead. His hands were numb. Every part of him ached. But they'd made it. They'd actually made it. The front door flew open. Mercy stood there, tears streaming down her face. "You came back," she whispered. "You actually came back." "Told you I would." She ran to him, threw her arms around his waist, held on like she'd never let go. Jasper held her, felt her small body shake with sobs she'd been holding back all day. "I thought you were dead," Mercy said. "I thought you were dead and I was alone again." "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." Over her head, Jasper saw Elizabeth watching them. Something in her face softened. "Come inside," Jasper said. "All of us. We've got planning to do." They gathered around the kitchen table. Jasper, Mercy, Elizabeth, Tomas. 4 people against an empire. "Morrison's men found Mrs. Blackwood's cabin," Jasper said. "They'll know we got away. They'll know where we went." "So he's coming here," Tomas said. "Tonight. Tomorrow. Soon as this weather clears." "What do we do?" Jasper looked at Elizabeth. "You still willing to testify?" "I said I was." "Then we need to get you to town, to Reverend Hale. He's got people rallying. If we can get your testimony on record, get the congregation behind us." "Morrison won't let you get that far," Elizabeth said. "The moment he sees me leaving this property, he'll move. He's not stupid." "So we need a distraction." Everyone looked at Jasper. "What kind of distraction?" Tomas asked. "The kind that makes Morrison focus on me instead of you." Jasper stood. "Tomorrow morning you take Mrs. Blackwood to town, through the back way along the creek. I'll ride out the front, make sure Morrison sees me." "He'll kill you," Mercy said. "Maybe, maybe not." "Jasper." "It's the only way." He looked at her. "You'll go with Tomas and Elizabeth. Get to the church. Stay there until this is over." "No." "Mercy." "I said no." She stood up, small fists clenched. "I'm not leaving you. I'm not running anymore." "This isn't running. This is surviving." "Surviving without you isn't surviving. It's just existing, and I'm done with that." Her voice broke, but her eyes were fierce. "You promised me," she said. "You promised you'd fight. You promised you wouldn't give up. Breaking that promise by dying isn't keeping it." Jasper stared at her. This small, fierce girl who'd walked 60 miles barefoot to find him. "Then what do you suggest?" he asked. Mercy looked at Elizabeth, at Tomas, then back at Jasper. "We fight together," she said. "All of us, and we don't run. We make him come here. We make him show everyone what he really is." "That's suicide." "So is everything else." Mercy lifted her chin. "But at least this way we go down fighting, together." The room was silent. Then Elizabeth spoke. "The girl's got a point. If we run, Morrison picks us off one by one. But if we stand our ground, force a confrontation, people see what happens," Tomas finished. "They see Morrison for what he is." Jasper looked around the table, at these people who were willing to die beside him. "All right," he said. "We stand. We fight. Together." Mercy's hand found his. "Together," she repeated. Outside, the storm was finally breaking, stars appearing through the clouds. And somewhere in the darkness, Silas Morrison was coming. Morrison came at dawn. Jasper heard the horses before he saw them. A lot of horses. More than 4 this time. He counted 8 riders cresting the ridge, spreading out as they approached the ranch. "They're here," Tomas said from the window. "I see them." Jasper checked his rifle, checked his revolver, checked them again. Elizabeth stood in the corner, face pale but steady. She'd found an old shotgun in the barn, held it like she knew how to use it. Mercy was upstairs. Jasper had made her promise to stay there to hide in the closet if things went bad. She'd argued. He'd won. Barely. 8 men. Tomas counted. Plus Morrison. That's 9 against 3. 4. Abigail Cross stepped through the back door, medical bag in one hand, pistol in the other. "Reverend Hale sent word last night. Half the congregation's on their way, but they won't make it in time. Then we hold until they get here. And if we can't, Jasper looked at her, then we die trying. The riders stopped 50 yards from the house. Morrison sat in front, that same easy smile on his face, like this was a social call, like he hadn't come to take a child. Thornton, Morrison's voice carried clear in the morning air. Let's talk. Just you and me. No guns. Talk from there. Come now, Jasper. We're civilized men. Surely we can work this out. Jasper stepped onto the porch, rifle in his hands. He didn't lower it. Nothing to work out. The girl stays. Mrs. Blackwood stays. You leave. Morrison's smile flickered, just for a second. Then it was back. I've got legal papers, Jasper. That child is my ward. The law's on my side. The law ain't here. Sheriff Callahan is. Morrison gestured behind him. Bo rode forward face tight with something that might have been shame. Tell him, Sheriff. Tell him what happens if he doesn't hand over my property. Bo's jaw worked. Jasper, don't make this harder than it has to be. You're really going to do this, Bo? You're going to help this man take a child he's been beating? I don't have proof of that. You've got Mrs. Blackwood's testimony. You've got Mercy's word. How much more proof do you need? I need something that'll hold up in court, not stories from a scared woman and a runaway kid. Then look at the bruises yourself. Look at what he did to her. Bo was silent. She's right inside, Jasper pressed. Come look. Just you. See for yourself what kind of man you're protecting. Morrison's smile was gone now. This is ridiculous. Sheriff, do your job. Bo. Jasper's voice dropped. You remember what you told me about Morrison's eyes, about something being wrong. Jasper. Look at her. Just look at her. Then tell me I'm wrong. Bo sat his horse caught between two worlds. The law he'd sworn to uphold. The truth he didn't want to see. Then slowly he dismounted. What are you doing? Morrison demanded. My job. Bo walked toward the porch. I'm going to look at this child, see these bruises for myself. Then we'll decide what happens. You work for me, Callahan. Bo stopped, turned. No, Morrison. I work for the law. And the law says I investigate claims of abuse. So that's what I'm going to do. The silence stretched. Morrison's face went cold. The men behind him shifted in their saddles. Fine, Morrison said finally. Fine. Look all you want. You won't find anything. The girl lies. They all lie. Bo climbed the porch steps. Jasper stepped aside, led him into the house. Where is she? Bo asked. Upstairs. Tomas, bring her down. The old foreman went up. Came back a minute later with Mercy. She looked small, scared, but she came. Bo knelt down, eye level with her. Hello, Mercy. I'm Sheriff Callahan. I need to ask you some questions. Mercy looked at Jasper. He nodded. Okay, she whispered. Mr. Morrison says you're his ward, that he took you in from the orphan train. Is that true? Yes, sir. And Mr. Thornton here says Morrison hurt you. Is that true too? Mercy's hand went to her neck, to the bruises that were fading now but still visible. Yes, sir. Can you show me? She hesitated. Then slowly she pulled down the collar of her dress. The bruises spread across her collarbone, her shoulders, old and new, yellow and purple. Bo's face went hard. Who did this to you? Mr. Morrison. When I spilled things, when I talked back, when I didn't do my chores fast enough. And your sister Hope. Mercy's chin trembled. She got sick. Mr. Morrison wouldn't get a doctor. Said she'd be fine. She wasn't. Where is Hope now? Dead. The word came out flat. She died in the cellar. I wasn't there. He'd locked me up for something I didn't even do. And when I got out, she was already gone. Tears were streaming down her face now, but her voice stayed steady, strong. He killed her, Sheriff. Maybe not with his hands, but he killed her just the same. Bo stood slowly. His face was different now. Something broken in it. Or maybe something fixed. He walked back to the porch, looked out at Morrison. This child's got bruises all over her body, pattern consistent with repeated abuse. And she says you let her sister die without medical care. She's lying. Then you won't mind if I take her into protective custody while we investigate. Morrison's mask slipped, something ugly beneath. That child is my property. I have papers. Papers don't mean much when there's evidence of abuse. Bo's hand moved to his gun. I'm taking her to town. You can sort this out with a judge. The judge is my cousin. Then find another judge, because I'm not letting you near this child again. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Morrison's hand dropped to his holster. Wrong move, he said. Everything happened at once. Morrison drew. Jasper dove, knocking Bo aside. A gunshot cracked wood splintering above Jasper's head. Get Mercy inside. Jasper rolled, came up firing. One of Morrison's men dropped from his horse. The others scattered, taking cover behind water troughs and fence posts. More shots. From the house. Tomas at one window, Abigail at another. Elizabeth's shotgun boomed from the back. Bo was on his feet, gun out, shooting at men who'd been his allies 5 minutes ago. Callahan! Morrison screamed. You're dead. You're all dead. Jasper grabbed Mercy, pulled her toward the door. A bullet whined past his ear. Close. Too close. Inside. Slam the door. Throw the bolt. Are you hit? Jasper checked Mercy frantically. Are you hurt? I'm okay. Another volley of shots. Glass shattering. Someone screamed outside. How many? Tomas shouted. 8 maybe. Lost track. We can't hold them forever. We don't have to. Just until help gets here. If help was coming. If Reverend Hale had actually rallied the town. If anyone cared enough to fight. Jasper moved to the window. Fired twice. A man fell, clutching his leg. Return fire drove him back. Too many guns. Too many angles. Thornton. Morrison's voice from somewhere behind the barn. Give me the girl, and you can all walk away. This doesn't have to end in blood. Go to hell. Already there, and I'm taking you with me. Something crashed through the window. A torch flame sputtering. It hit the floor, started spreading. Fire! Elizabeth stomped on it, tried to smother the flames. Another torch. Another window. They were going to burn them out. Get water. Jasper abandoned his post, grabbed a bucket, threw it on the spreading flames. Not enough. Not nearly enough. We have to get out of here, Abigail said. We stay, we die. We go out there, we die too. Then we die fighting instead of burning. Jasper looked at Mercy, at her face lit by the growing flames. Back door, he said. Everyone out. We make for the barn. They moved fast, through the kitchen, past Elizabeth's smoking shotgun, out the back door. 2 of Morrison's men waited there. Jasper shot the first one before he could raise his rifle. The second got off a shot that went wide, and then Tomas was on him, pistol whipping him to the ground. Run! Jasper grabbed Mercy's hand. Go! They sprinted for the barn, bullets kicking up snow around them. Jasper felt something hot graze his arm. Ignored it, kept running. The barn door. He threw it open, shoved Mercy inside, turned to cover the others. Elizabeth stumbled, went down. Jasper ran back, grabbed her arm, hauled her up. A bullet punched through his coat, missing his ribs by inches. They made it to the barn, slammed the door shut. Board it. Jasper grabbed anything he could find. Crates, tools, anything. Outside shouting. More gunshots. Then silence. Jasper pressed his eye to a crack in the wood. Morrison's men were falling back, regrouping around the burning house. What are they doing? Tomas asked. Waiting us out. They know we're trapped. The barn was solid, but it wasn't a fortress. One torch through the loft window, and they'd be in the same situation they'd just escaped. Jasper. Mercy's voice was small. I'm sorry. For what? For all of this. If I hadn't come here, then Morrison would still be hurting children. And your sister would still be unavenged. Jasper knelt beside her. You did the right thing, Mercy. You ran. You survived. You told the truth. That's all any of us can do. But if we die, then we die knowing we tried. A commotion outside. Jasper returned to the crack, looked out. Riders. A lot of them. Coming fast from the direction of town. Who is that? Elizabeth asked. Jasper squinted. Made out faces. Reverend Hale in front, rifle raised. Behind him, men and women from the congregation. Farmers, shopkeepers, regular people, 30 of them at least, maybe more. Reinforcements, Jasper breathed. Thank God. Reinforcements. The new riders spread out surrounding Morrison's men. Hale's voice boomed across the yard. Silas Morrison, this ends now. Lay down your weapons. Morrison emerged from behind the water trough, face twisted with rage. This is none of your business. Reverend, stay out of it. You burned a man's home. You tried to murder innocent people. That makes it everyone's business. I'm taking what's mine. That child belongs to no man. Hale raised his rifle. Now drop your weapon or face the consequences. Morrison looked around. At his men, outnumbered 3-1. At the townspeople with their guns and their fury. At the burning house and the bodies in the snow. For a moment, Jasper thought he might surrender. Then Morrison's hand moved. Hale fired first. The shot took Morrison in the shoulder, spun him around. His men threw down their guns. Smart enough to know when they were beaten. Jasper threw open the barn door, ran toward Morrison. The man was on his knees in the snow, clutching his shoulder blood seeping through his fingers. You think this changes anything? Morrison gasped. I've got lawyers, judges. I'll be out in a week. Jasper grabbed him by the collar, hauled him up. Look around you, Jasper said. Look at all these people. You think they're going to forget what they saw today? You think they're going to stay quiet now? They're nothing. Peasants. They don't matter. They're witnesses. 30 of them. More coming. Jasper leaned close. Your money can buy a lot of things, Morrison, but it can't buy this many people's silence. It's over. You're done. Bo limped over, cuffs in hand. Silas Morrison, you're under arrest for assault, attempted murder, arson, and child abuse. You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it. He slapped the cuffs on Morrison's wrists, hauled him away. Jasper stood there watching, blood dripping from the wound on his arm, exhaustion hitting him all at once. Then small arms wrapped around his waist. Mercy. You're hurt, she said. Just a scratch. Liar. But she was smiling through her tears. We won, didn't we? We actually won. Jasper looked at the burning house, at the bodies in the snow, at the townspeople gathering some, tending the wounded others, putting out the fire. Yeah, he said. I think we did. The next few days passed in a blur. Morrison was taken to the county jail to await trial. His men scattered, unwilling to stand by a man whose power had evaporated overnight. The house was a loss. Fire had gutted most of it. But the barn stood, and Jasper and Tomas had slept in worse places. Reverend Hale offered to let everyone stay at the church until things were sorted. Jasper accepted for Mercy and Elizabeth. He stayed at the ranch, salvaging what he could, planning how to rebuild. A week after the standoff, Sheriff Callahan came to see him. Jasper was in the ruins of his kitchen, sifting through ash. The candle was gone. Samuel's candle, lost to the fire. Jasper. He looked up. Bo stood in what used to be the doorway. Sheriff. Got news. Morrison's talking. Making a deal with the state prosecutor, giving up names, dates, details, trying to save his own neck. Is it working? Not really. Too many witnesses, too much evidence. Bo hesitated. There's going to be a trial. Mercy will have to testify. Jasper's gut tightened. She's been through enough. I know, but her testimony's the key. Without it, she'll do it. Jasper stood. If she wants to, I won't force her. Fair enough. Bo looked around at the destruction. You going to rebuild? Yeah. Need help? Jasper studied the man who'd almost been his enemy, who'd chosen justice over convenience at the last possible moment. Could use a hand with the framing? Bo almost smiled. I'll be here Saturday. He left. Jasper went back to sifting through the ashes, and found it. Samuel's candle holder. Blackened, bent, but intact. The candle itself was gone, melted, destroyed, but the holder remained. Jasper picked it up, held it close. Some things could be rebuilt. Some things couldn't. But the holder was still here, and that meant something. That evening, Mercy came to the ranch. Jasper was sitting outside the barn, watching the sun set the candle holder in his hands. Reverend Hale said you'd be here. She sat down beside him. What's that? Samuel's candle holder, found it in the ruins. Mercy looked at it, at the blackened metal, at the way Jasper held it like something precious. The candle's gone, she said. Yeah. I'm sorry. Jasper shook his head. It's just a candle. Just wax and wick. What matters is what it meant. And that ain't gone. Mercy was quiet a moment. Then she reached into her pocket, pulled something out. A new candle. White unlit. Mrs. Porter gave me this, she said. Told me I could have it for free. Said I'd earned it. Jasper stared at the candle. At this small girl who'd lost everything and was still trying to give. Thank you, he managed. Don't thank me yet. Mercy took the holder from his hands, set the new candle in it. You got matches? He did, in his coat pocket. He handed them to her. Mercy struck a match. The flame caught, steadied. There, she said. Now you've got your light back. Jasper looked at the candle. New flame in an old holder. It's different now, he said. It's not Samuel's candle anymore. No. Mercy looked at him. It's ours. Ours. The word hit him somewhere deep. Somewhere he'd thought was dead. Mercy, he said slowly. You know the trial's coming. Morrison's going to have lawyers. They're going to ask you questions. Hard questions. I know. And after the trial, you're going to need somewhere to live. The Orphan Train Authority is already talking about finding you a new placement. Mercy's face went blank. That protective blankness he'd seen before. I figured. Unless someone else takes you in, someone with a proper home, a proper family. Mr. Thornton. I ain't got a proper home right now, just a burned-down house and a barn full of hay. Jasper took a breath. But I'm going to rebuild. And when I do, there's going to be a room in that house. A room for a little girl who walked 60 miles to find me. Mercy's eyes went wide. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to adopt you, Mercy, proper and legal, if you'll have me. She didn't answer, just stared at him like he'd spoken a foreign language. You don't have to decide now, Jasper said quickly. You can think about it. Talk to Reverend Hale, to Dr. Cross. I know I ain't much. Yes. What? Yes. Mercy's voice cracked. I'll have you. I'll have you right now. She threw herself at him, arms around his neck, face buried in his shoulder. Jasper held her, this fierce, broken, brave little girl who'd become his reason for living. I got you, he whispered. I got you, kid. Don't let go. Never. Above them, the sky went dark, stars appearing one by one. and on the ground the candle burned steady. Not Samuel's candle anymore. Theirs. The trial came on a Tuesday in March. Jasper sat in the front row of the courtroom, hands clasped tight, watching Mercy walk toward the witness stand. She looked smaller than ever in her new dress, the one Mrs. Porter had made special for today. But her chin was up. Her eyes were steady. She was ready. Judge Harrison, brought in from 2 counties over to avoid Morrison's influence, swore her in. Mercy placed her hand on the Bible, spoke the oath in a clear voice. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do." Morrison's lawyer stood, a city man, expensive suit, cold eyes. He'd been brought in from Denver to tear apart a 10-year-old girl. "Miss Mercy," he began, voice smooth as oil. "You claim my client abused you, is that correct?" "Yes, sir." "And you claim he let your sister die, is that also correct?" "Yes, sir." "Tell me, Miss Mercy, did you ever actually see Mr. Morrison strike your sister?" Mercy hesitated. "No, sir." "Did you see him deny her food?" "I was locked in the cellar. I couldn't see anything." "So you didn't see him do these things? You're simply assuming." "I'm not assuming." Mercy's voice hardened. "I saw what he did to me. I know what he's capable of." "What you think he's capable of?" The lawyer turned to the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have here a child with a vivid imagination. A child who ran away from a stable home because she didn't like the discipline. A child who—" "He locked us in the dark." The lawyer stopped, turned back. "Excuse me." "He locked us in the dark." Mercy's hands were shaking, but her voice held. "For hours, sometimes days. Said it would teach us gratitude, teach us our place. Miss Mercy." Hope was afraid of the dark. She'd cry, and I'd hold her hand through the crack under the door. That's all I could do. Hold her hand and tell her it would be okay. The courtroom had gone silent. But it wasn't okay. Tears were streaming down Mercy's face now, but she didn't stop. She got sick. Fever shaking, couldn't keep food down. I begged him to get a doctor. Begged on my knees. You know what he said? The lawyer opened his mouth, closed it. He said she'd either get better or she wouldn't. Said doctors cost money. Said she wasn't worth the expense. Miss Mercy, I really must. She died asking for me. Mercy's voice cracked like thunder. She died alone in that cellar because he wouldn't spend $1 to save her. And you want to tell this jury I'm making it up? You want to call me a liar? She stood up in the witness box, small fists clenched. I walked 60 miles barefoot in January to get away from that man. 60 miles I almost died. You think I did that because I didn't like the discipline? The lawyer looked at the jury, at their faces, at the women crying, the men with clenched jaws. He looked at Morrison sitting at the defendant's table, face pale. No further questions, the lawyer said quietly. Mercy sat back down. Her whole body was shaking. But she'd done it. She'd told the truth. And everyone had heard. The prosecution called Elizabeth Blackwood next. She told her story, every detail, every horror she'd witnessed at Morrison's ranch. The crying in the cellar. The bruises on children's bodies. The way Morrison looked at them when he thought no one was watching. Then Sheriff Callahan took the stand. Testified about what he'd seen that day at Jasper's ranch. The bruises on Mercy's body. Morrison drawing his gun, starting the firefight. The attempted murder of a child. By the time the prosecution rested, Morrison's face was the color of ash. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. Guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted. People cheering, crying, embracing. Reverend Hale led a prayer of thanksgiving. Mrs. Porter hugged Elizabeth Blackwood like a long-lost sister. Jasper pushed through the crowd, found Mercy. She was standing alone by the window, watching Morrison being led away in chains. You okay? Jasper asked. I don't know. She looked up at him. Is it really over? The trial's over. Morrison's going to prison for a long time. But Hope's still dead. Jasper's throat tightened. Yeah, she is. I keep thinking maybe I should feel better now, justice and all that, but I just feel empty. He knelt beside her. That's normal, Mercy. Justice don't bring people back. It just makes sure they didn't die for nothing. Did she die for nothing? No. Jasper took her hands. Because of you, Morrison can't hurt anyone else. Because you were brave enough to run, brave enough to tell the truth, 100 other children are safe. Hope would be proud of that. I know I am. Mercy looked at him, searching his face for the lie she'd learned to expect from adults, not finding one. Can we go home now? She asked. Home. The word hit him somewhere deep. Yeah, he said. Let's go home. They rode back to Red Creek in Reverend Hale's wagon, the whole congregation following like a victory parade. People waved from porches. Children ran alongside cheering. Jasper kept his arm around Mercy the whole way. She fell asleep against his shoulder, somewhere around Miller's Creek, exhausted from the day, from the weeks, from the weight of telling her story to a room full of strangers. He didn't wake her, just held her and watched the Wyoming sky turn gold with sunset. The new house was half finished when they arrived. Jasper had started rebuilding a week after the fire, every able-bodied man in town coming to help. The frame was up now, walls going in, roof taking shape. It looked like a home again, or the promise of one. Tomas met them at the gate, grinning wider than Jasper had ever seen. Patron, we heard the news, guilty on everything. Every count. Praise God. Tomas helped Mercy down from the wagon. And you, Nina, you did good today. Mercy managed a tired smile. Thanks, Tomas. Come inside. Well, inside the barn. I made dinner. Real dinner, not that slop the patron calls food. They ate together that night, all of them. Jasper, Mercy, Tomas, Abigail, Reverend Hale, Elizabeth Blackwood. A family cobbled together from broken pieces. From people who'd found each other in the darkness and refused to let go. After dinner, Jasper walked Mercy to the corner of the barn they'd set up as her bedroom. Blankets hung for privacy. A real bed donated by Mrs. Porter. And on the nightstand, the candle in Samuel's holder. You want me to light it? Jasper asked. Mercy shook her head. Not tonight. No. Tonight I'm not scared of the dark. She looked at him. Because I know you're here, and that's better than any candle. Jasper's chest went tight. Good night, Mercy. Good night, Pa. Pa. She'd never called him that before. Never called anyone that, probably. Jasper stood frozen in the doorway, not trusting himself to speak. Mercy was already curling up under the blankets, eyes closing, like she hadn't just changed everything with a single word. He walked out of the barn, into the night, and let the tears come. The adoption papers arrived 3 weeks later. Jasper stood in the half-finished kitchen reading them for the 10th time. Legal language, official stamps, signatures from Judge Harrison himself. Mercy Elizabeth Thornton, his daughter. Official and legal. You going to stare at those all day, or you going to sign them? He looked up. Mercy was standing in the doorway, arms crossed, trying to look impatient. But he could see the fear beneath. The worry that something would go wrong, that he'd change his mind. Just making sure everything's right, Jasper said. It's been right for 3 weeks. They sent them over twice. Pretty sure they're not going to change. You in a hurry? Maybe. She came closer. Maybe I want to know for sure that you're not going to wake up one day and decide this was a mistake. Jasper set down the papers, looked at her. Mercy, you listening? I'm listening. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, failed a lot of people, let down everyone who counted on me. He picked up the pen. But this ain't a mistake. This is the only thing I've done right in 10 years. He signed the papers, both copies, then handed her the pen. Your turn. Mercy took it. Her hand was shaking. Once I sign this, it's real, she said. You're really my father. That's how it works. And I'm really your daughter. Mercy Elizabeth Thornton. Got a nice ring to it. She laughed. Wet, broken, beautiful. Then she signed. Jasper pulled her into a hug. Felt her arms go around him, holding tight. I got a daughter, he said, voice rough. I got a pa. She pulled back, wiped her eyes. A real one. One who won't leave. Never. Promise? Promise. They stood there in the unfinished kitchen, holding on to each other, and the sun came through the window frame where glass would go someday, and it felt like beginning. Spring turned to summer. The house came together board by board, nail by nail. Jasper did most of the work himself, but Mercy helped when she could, hauling boards, fetching tools, learning how things were built. She'd started school in town. First time she'd been in a classroom in years. The other children had been wary at first. She was the girl who'd testified against Morrison, the girl who'd walked 60 miles barefoot. But Mercy won them over the same way she'd won everyone else, by being herself, fierce and honest and unafraid. Elizabeth Blackwood stayed through the summer, helping where she could, figuring out what came next. In August, she got a letter from a sister in Oregon she hadn't spoken to in years, an invitation to start over. I'm going to miss you, Mercy said the day Elizabeth left. I'm going to miss you too, sweetheart. Elizabeth hugged her tight. You take care of that father of yours. He needs looking after. I know. He can't cook worth a damn. Jasper pretended to be offended. Everyone laughed. Elizabeth climbed into the stagecoach, waved from the window. Then she was gone, riding toward her own new beginning. That night, Jasper found Mercy on the porch of the new house, finished now, finally all 4 walls, and a roof, and glass in every window. She was sitting in the rocking chair that used to belong to his grandmother, looking at the stars. You okay? He asked. Just thinking. About what? About hope. About how she never got to see any of this. Jasper sat down beside her. You miss her? Every day. Mercy touched the blue ribbon on her wrist. Still there. Always there. Sometimes I feel guilty. For being happy, I mean. For having all this when she has nothing. You think she'd want you to be sad? No. She'd want me to be happy. She always said that. Mercy's voice cracked. She'd say, Mercy, one day we're going to have a real home, with a real family, and we're never going to be scared again. Sounds like a smart girl. She was. Smarter than me, probably. Then honor her by living the life she wanted for you. Jasper put his hand on hers. Be happy, Mercy. Not because you've forgotten her, but because you remember. Mercy was quiet a long time. Then she leaned against his shoulder. I love you, Pa. First time she'd said those words, Jasper felt them like a benediction. I love you too, sweetheart. They sat there on the porch, watching the stars, and the candle burned steady in the window behind them. Autumn came gold and red. Jasper rode out to Samuel's grave on a crisp October morning. First time he'd been there since the trial. Since everything changed. The headstone was the same. Small, simple, weathered by 5 years of Wyoming weather. Samuel James Thornton, beloved son, 1875 to 1882. Jasper dismounted, stood there with his hat in his hands. Hey, son. The wind rustled through the dry grass. No answer. There never was. I know it's been a while. Things got complicated. He paused. Got a daughter now. Little girl named Mercy. She's 10. Same age you'd be if... He couldn't finish that sentence. Never could. She's amazing, Samuel. Brave and strong and everything I wasn't for you. I think you'd like her. A hawk circled overhead. Jasper watched it climb the sky. I'm not going to stop coming here. Not going to stop missing you. But I think maybe I can do both now. Miss you and still live. Honor your memory and still be happy. His voice broke. I hope that's okay. I hope you understand." The hawk screamed, once distant and wild, then flew toward the mountains. Jasper stood there a while longer. Then he put his hat back on, mounted his horse, and rode home. Mercy was waiting on the porch. "Where'd you go?" she asked. "To see Samuel." "Your son?" "Yeah." Mercy was quiet a moment. "What did you tell him?" "Told him about you. About us." "What did he say?" Jasper smiled. "He said, 'Welcome to the family.'" Mercy smiled back. "Good. I'm glad." They went inside together. Dinner was waiting, cooked by Tomas, who refused to let Jasper near the stove anymore. Abigail was there, and Reverend Hale, and the porters from town. The table was full. The house was warm. This is what Hope wanted for us, Jasper thought. This is what Samuel missed. But maybe they knew anyway. Maybe somewhere they were watching. Maybe they were proud. Winter came early that year. The first snow fell in November, heavy and white, covering the ranch in silence. Jasper stood at the window watching it pile up, remembering another snowy night almost a year ago. A night when a barefoot girl had knocked on his door and changed everything. "Pa." He turned. Mercy was standing there in her nightgown, candle holder in her hands. "What are you doing up?" "Couldn't sleep." She came to stand beside him, looked out at the snow. "A year ago tonight. That's when I came here." "You remember the date?" "Hard to forget." She touched the frost on the window. "I was so scared, so cold. I almost didn't knock, almost just kept walking." "Why didn't you?" "The light." She looked at him. "I saw the candle in your window, and I thought anyone who keeps a light burning in the dark can't be all bad." Jasper's throat went tight. "I was keeping it for Samuel." "I know, but it found me instead." She lifted the candle holder. "Can we light it together?" He nodded, found matches in his pocket. Mercy struck one. The flame caught, steadied, grew. "For Samuel," she said, "and for Hope, and for everyone who's lost in the dark, and for everyone who's finding their way home." They set the candle in the window. Its light pushed back the darkness, small but steady. "Pa." "Yeah. Thank you. For opening the door." Jasper put his arm around her. This daughter he'd found. This family he'd built from ashes. "Thank you for knocking." They stood there together, watching the snow fall, and the candle burned bright in the window. A beacon, a promise, a light that would never go out. 3 years later, Jasper Thornton stood on the porch of his finished home, watching his daughter ride across the meadow. 13, now tall and strong, the best rider in the territory. She'd gotten top marks in school, made friends with every child in town, become the person her sister Hope had always believed she could be. Tomas worked in the barn, same as always. Gray hair, a little grayer back, a little bent, but still strong where it counted. Abigail had married Reverend Hale the previous spring, the whole town celebrating for 3 days straight. Elizabeth had written from Oregon. She'd opened a small boarding house, was doing well, was happy. And Morrison had died in prison 2 years ago. Heart attack, they said. Nobody mourned him. Nobody remembered him. His legacy was ash and shame, while the children he'd hurt were thriving. Mercy rode up to the porch, cheeks flushed, eyes bright. "Saw a wolf pack over by Miller's Creek," she said. 5 of them. Biggest ones I've ever seen. Stay clear of them." "I know, Pa. I'm not stupid." "Never said you were." She dismounted, tied her horse to the rail, came to stand beside him. "You know what today is?" she asked. "Tuesday." "Pa." Jasper smiled. "Anniversary of the day you knocked on my door." 4 years. Mercy shook her head. "Feels like forever ago. Feels like yesterday." "Time's funny that way." "Remember how scared I was?" "Remember how scared I was?" She laughed. You weren't scared." "Terrified. Had no idea what I was doing. Still don't most days." "You're doing fine." Mercy leaned against his shoulder. Better than fine. They watched the sun set over the mountains, same as they did most evenings. Father and daughter. Found family. Two broken people who'd made each other whole. Pa. Yeah. I've been thinking about Hope a lot lately. About what she'd say if she could see us now.
What?
What do you think she'd say? Mercy was quiet a moment. Then she smiled. She'd say, I told you so. She always believed something good was coming, even when everything was bad. She never stopped believing. Smart girl. The smartest. Mercy touched the blue ribbon on her wrist. Faded now, almost colorless, but still there. Always there. I keep this for her, so she's always with me. She is. In everything you do. Mercy nodded. Then she straightened up, wiped her eyes. Enough sad talk. Tomas is making tamales tonight. You coming in, or you going to stand here staring at the sunset like an old man? I am an old man. Not that old. She grabbed his hand, pulled him toward the door. Come on, before he gives your share to the dogs. Jasper let himself be pulled, let himself laugh, let himself feel something he'd thought was lost forever. Joy. Inside the table was set for 4. Tomas, Mercy, Jasper, and an empty chair for whoever might come knocking. There was always an empty chair now, always room for one more, and in the window the candle burned steady. Not for ghosts anymore, for the living, for the lost, for anyone walking through the dark looking for a light to guide them home. Some people never find their way back from loss. They let the grief swallow them, let the guilt bury them, let the darkness become the only thing they know. But some people find a light. Sometimes it's a candle in a window. Sometimes it's a knock at the door. Sometimes it's a child who walks 60 miles barefoot through the snow because she believes, despite everything, that somewhere out there, someone is waiting. Jasper Thornton had been a man without hope, a father without a son, a ghost haunting his own life. Then Mercy came, and everything changed. Not because she replaced what he'd lost. Nothing could do that. Samuel was gone. That wound would never fully heal. But wounds don't have to heal completely to stop bleeding. They don't have to disappear to let you live. Sometimes they just become part of you, part of your story, part of what makes you strong enough to save someone else. Jasper saved Mercy that January night, but Mercy saved him right back. And that in the end is what family means. Not blood, not papers, not the accident of birth. Family is who you choose, who chooses you, who stands beside you in the darkness and refuses to let go. Family is a candle in the window, a knock at the door, a voice that says, I got you, and means it, forever.